Baking, boat building, gardening, knife making, dancing, painting, calligraphy, and yoga. What do these hobbies have in common? Well, they are all examples of hobbies that we've turned into thriving online businesses. Like Rosie, who went from a burnt out pharmacist to building a calligraphy business that's generated just shy of $1 million in sales. Or Chris, who created a booming online business around playing the trumpet. Or Michelle, who was able to close the doors to her bakery that was burning her out by bringing in $20K a month with her online business consistently. Or Jordan, who took his love of gardening and made it global with 400 people knocking down his virtual door to become customers. In this video, I'm gonna break down the game plan to turn your hobby into a $10K a month business and to scale it from there. Plus, I'm gonna give you access to a powerful new tool that I'm so excited about that will unlock two crucial factors of your 10K a month business: who your ideal client is and what you can offer them. Comment Decoder below. You'll be one of the first people to have access to this. We'll send you the link to the free tool so you can use it for yourself. So before we get into the solution, let's talk about the problems. So you love your hobby, but you don't know how to make money from it. Or you're tired of working super long hours and you want more freedom. Or you're good at something, but you're stuck on how to actually turn it into a business. And you may be getting some interest and demand, but you're ultimately trading your time for money and how you're currently set up. And that puts you on this never-ending hamster wheel. Tell me if this sounds familiar to you. So you're in a state of doing. So whatever you love to do, whatever that hobby may be or that passion may be, you're in a state of doing. You're doing it for the love of it because you enjoy it. And what happens is you start to get kind of good at it, and then people are like, hey, I want to pick your brain on that. I want to do that too. Or could you do that for me? And then you start really working with anybody because, hey, look at this is kind of exciting. And then you're really just undervaluing that skill set or that thing that you can do better than other people. And that leads into what is the worst part of this hamster wheel that really never ends, which is you are consuming all your time doing this thing that you actually do genuinely enjoy, but now you're doing it for so many people that you have no time, and it sucks the fun out of it. And that leads to something we call the law of diminishing returns. So kind of goes on this little arc right here. So it starts with, okay, we've gotten good at something. All right. And then people start coming to us to do that thing. And then from there, even though we're getting recognizable and we're getting this sort of expert status and people are like interested in what we're doing, what happens here is there's more demand for that thing and less time. This is where we get into a danger zone. And this is what we call negative returns. Because, as I mentioned earlier, ultimately, you're doing this thing that you do actually really enjoy and love, but you're doing it in a way that's making you hate it and it's consuming all of your time. So you're now starting to resent that very thing. This is not a good model. So how do we fix this? What's the solution? So when we think about the solution, we have to think about the fact that a hobby is one thing, but ultimately a business solves problems. So the first thing we have to do is find your focus point. So what I mean is, don't try to do everything. Focus on one specific problem people need help with in your hobby. So what's a problem that you can solve with the hobby that you're doing? And what do people come to you for advice about when it comes to that hobby? If you know how to do something well, people will want to learn from you. Inevitably, it's going to happen. And what you can teach is at the core of how to turn your hobby into a business. If people want to learn from you, then you need to identify what you can teach them, and that will be of the highest service to them. So the second thing that we're going to focus on here is, who can you help with your hobby? Who can you help most? And again, if you don't want to figure this out on your own, I have a trick to do this in just a second, which is going to be a game changer for you. So the question is, who can you help most with your hobby? So a great question to ask yourself and to think about is, when you think about who you can help and maybe who's coming to you for advice, why are they coming to you? What's maybe the challenge they're facing, the pain they're facing? Why aren't they willing to figure this out on their own? Why would they come to you? So I'm going to give you a prime example of this. So Chris helps adult returning trumpet players. So why is this so important? Because if we think about the path that we can take Chris's client on, a beginner wouldn't really have pain or urgency. They don't really know how to play. They don't really have a reason that this is something crucial or serious for them. And it would take them a lot longer, and that would really kill his results. So it would take them a lot longer to get to a place where they would actually know how to play. So he needed to find folks who had pain associated with what he could teach. You might be thinking, well, what's the pain associated with not playing the trumpet? So what he discovered was returning trumpet players who don't play anymore and feel a loss of connection to their creativity. And there was a lot of pain associated for those people. So what we must identify to turn your hobby into an actual business is this ideal client journey from 0 to hero. So in Chris's case, he knew that it was people who had lost that connection. So they actually had played before, they were quite good before, but they'd lost that connection and that creative outlet. So instead of figuring this out for yourself, let's use the ideal client decoder to articulate exactly who his ideal client is and how we can help them. So all you do when you use this tool is answer 3 simple questions. What is your primary skill set or expertise that you want to teach in your online course? In this case, your hobby. So in this case, it's to play trumpet. What's the dream outcome you want your online course to provide to your ideal clients? Well, to play with confidence. And who needs and will experience the most impact from the outcome of your online course? People who haven't played in a while and miss it. So those are the answers. And then the decoder will send you your customized ideal client avatar and so much more in a matter of minutes. So with very, very limited information, just those simple answers and responses, this is what the decoder actually gives back to you for your custom ideal client. So the one specific ideal client. Your ideal client is an adult who once played the trumpet and now faces the emotional challenge of having stopped. They miss the joy and satisfaction of playing and are looking for a structured way to reintegrate trumpet playing into their routine. They may be juggling work, family, and various other responsibilities, which means they need a flexible program designed to fit into their busy lives. The desire to return to trumpet playing is rooted in a deeper need for self-expression, fulfillment, and reconnecting with a beloved pastime that brought joy and a sense of accomplishment. Then we go into the exact 0 state. So it hand delivers this to you. So the one specific place on their journey where they need to make a change. These adults are often in a state of nostalgia, experiencing a deep sense of loss and frustration. Their tipping point generally comes after hearing someone else play, watching a performance, or simply discovering their old trumpet gathering dust. This realization hurts because playing the trumpet used to be a fundamental part of their identity and creative expression. What keeps them up at night is the combination of regret for not having maintained that skill and the fear that they might never be able to play as they once did. So symptoms of this include a lack of creative outlet, increased stress levels, and a void in their personal satisfaction. So before we get into the 3rd key factor of your ideal client, what takes your hobby and turns it into an actual business is identifying not just what people want from you, but what they actually need to learn from you. And that brings us to something called Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You may have heard of this before. And the decoder ultimately identifies it for you. So if you don't want to try and figure this out on your own, this is exactly why we created this powerful tool. We have been honing this methodology for almost a decade. And what was a manual process, we've now turned into this incredible tool. And we know the basis of your business, your online business, needs to identify these 3 key factors of your ideal client. This is something we've been working on and perfecting for years. So comment decoder and we'll share the link with you to use it. It will provide you exactly who your ideal client is, your unique selling proposition, and suggested content topics to attract your most ideal clients to whatever your offer may be. Which brings us to the 3rd factor of your ideal client, and that is one specific outcome. They deeply desire to reestablish their skill level and play the trumpet confidently. They seek the combination of technical proficiency and emotional fulfillment that playing brings. This outcome satisfies their need for self-actualization according to Maslow's hierarchy of needs as they aim to achieve their full potential in something they once loved. The desired outcome is to play fluidly and with confidence, experiencing the joy of music and the sense of personal achievement. Every business in the world satisfies at least one of Maslow's needs, which is why we emphasize knowing the need behind your hobby, which will turn into a business, whether it's self-actualization, esteem, love and belonging, safety needs, or physiological needs. Having this all clear allows you to create a very clear and effective transformation statement or a unique selling proposition, which allows you to position yourself in the market, like the one generated by the ideal client decoder. So it says, I help adults who have stopped playing the trumpet go from feeling frustration and regret about their lost skill to confidently playing the trumpet again so that they can experience fulfillment, joy, and a renewed sense of personal accomplishment. Do you see how that takes it from teaching the trumpet to something so much more important? So that brings us to the big question, the money question. What are you selling? So now we know who the ideal client is in detail, and the 0 to hero journey that we need to take them on in order for them to get the results that they're after. So how do you deliver that journey? You are going to package your expertise, and that is going to take your ideal client on this 0 to hero journey. So in between those 2 points, the start and the end, is your curriculum. And it is a step-by-step blueprint to allow your client to achieve this hero outcome with as much efficiency as possible. So why is efficiency important? Because people do not pay for information. They pay for transformation. There's enough free information online. It's overwhelming. It leads to inaction. People get analysis paralysis. They just want the guide and the go-to from getting from here to here, period. So in this case, it could be things like goal setting. What do they want to do now that they're playing the trumpet again? Or warm-up routines, or learning new songs. So those are just a few of the things that would take them from that 0 state to that hero state. But the thing is, once you have that laid out of like, what's the starting point, what's the ending point, which is the absolute most crucial part of actually turning your hobby into a business, then you use your expertise to go, okay, well, what would actually get that person there? What got me there? You kind of reverse engineer and you're like, okay, what are all the steps that I can lay out in the curriculum in the most efficient way, in the right order, because I actually have the credibility to do so, to get them from 0 to hero. That's the most important part of using that transformation statement and those 3 factors of your ideal client to bridge the gap using your curriculum. And once you define what that outline looks like, then you would package that into an online program that you can actually sell. So you package your methodology into an online course. This includes the curriculum to take them from 0 to hero. And that is how you're able to turn that hobby into an actual business and something you can truly sell. So in Chris's case, he generated just shy of 10K in the first 30 days without actually building his program. So before he even built it, he had already generated just shy of $10,000. We're gonna talk more about that and how he's able to do that in a little bit. So now we have something to sell, but obviously you need to know who you're selling it to. So the next step is to find clients. And this is really a 2-step process, and it's very important that you do it in this way. So you know who the client is. How do you proactively find them? Especially in the beginning, you got to go out there and find people. Once you build credibility and you get results, then people start coming to you, but we have to build that base. So maybe there are people already asking for your help, or you maybe have worked with people in the past or done a favor for somebody in the past to ask for your help or wanted to pick your brain, or maybe you have past or current clients, friends, family, your network, any peers, anybody else who is in the same space as you, people who have a similar audience to you, online, offline, and you can just use a really simple message. And this is strictly in the beginning going to be for research. So in this case with Chris, it would say something like, do you know anyone struggling with getting back to playing the trumpet confidently? I'm doing research for a project and would love to speak to them. Thank you. That's it. And then you start to get people coming to you who are in that pain spot. They are struggling. And why this is so important is you truly are doing research and development still. So we have the baseline. You now want to talk to real people and really understand on a human-to-human level what would make this a no-brainer for them. What would make them go, I need that program. So you get onto these interviews, these research calls with them, and you just ask them, what's your biggest struggle right now with getting back into playing the trumpet? Why'd you stop? Why is this painful for you? What's your biggest regret around this? And they're going to hand deliver you refining your curriculum, making it even better, and messaging to actually attract them. So where can you find these people? Well, now that we know who they are, makes it a lot easier. Go onto Facebook, search groups, look up trumpet players. You're gonna find a whole bunch of options just sitting there with tons of people who potentially need your help and are seeking a solution to the situation that they're in and would love to speak with you and would love to really have somebody who gets it. And that creates this level of trust and reciprocity and also allows you to build the most impactful program to deliver to them that makes it, again, a no-brainer. Not to mention things like YouTube comment sections, Instagram accounts, Reddit forums, local music stores, community bands, offline and online. We have to think about it from that perspective. And what happens there is you actually start to build out this mini little audience of super targeted people. And it is not about the size of your audience, especially when you are actually trying to build a business. It is about the quality of the audience. So it goes from warm, reaching out to people who are maybe in the vicinity, in the space, in your network, to cold, because those people start to then refer people who don't actually know you, who don't have a connection with you. And this is how you organically start to build a really strong base of potential clients, and how you start to speak to people and get really unbiased answers to your research questions and truly get a well-rounded idea of what they need from your program to make the best possible program. And then from there, I'm going to use MM here, which means you now have a little base of an audience. Okay, let's start talking to them and delivering them content that's going to be helpful so that you position yourself as the expert and the authority and the trusted resource who they ultimately do want to take that next step and work with. So an example of this would be, we know the zero state, we know the hero state. So what's the messaging that would really appeal to the person at the zero state? Because that's where we want to talk to them. We want to appeal to them when they're at the zero state so they can go, wow, this person's really helpful. They know what they're talking about. I wonder if they have anything to offer. That's exactly what the process looks like. And like I said earlier, the Decoder does this for you. So once you build that little audience, then you can use magnetic messaging to actually talk to them. So it's going to provide you with suggested content topics that appeal to that exact ideal client. So in this case, how to pick up your trumpet after years away, top exercises for returning trumpet players, balancing trumpet practice with a busy life, rebuilding your trumpet skills step by step, real stories of adults returning to trumpet playing, essential trumpet techniques for the reconnector, creating a productive trumpet practice routine, relaxation and stress relief through trumpet playing, how to overcome trumpet practice frustrations, and finally, the mental and emotional benefits of playing trumpet again. Do you see how perfectly tailored those topics are to that person at that zero state? It is going to magnify the right people. And like I said, take the thinking out of the process. This is what the Decoder can do for you. So this brings us to getting paid to test your idea. So before making anything perfect, see if people are actually going to pay for it. So you go right back to those people that you did those research calls with, and now you've actually created something that they need. So you would offer them a simple prototype version of your product or service at a reduced price and in exchange for testimonials. And this would be done via Zoom classes, live once a week, a community, which you can host on something like Facebook in a group or elsewhere, and just creating the lessons week by week on Google Docs. We have helped thousands of people launch really thriving, successful businesses, 6- and 7-figure businesses, with this method of testing first. For example, Chris, he had incredible results, and this is what he had to say about the process of enrolling 13 ideal clients in 30 days into his prototype program. Here are a few of the highlights. So he said, this is way better than driving to work and doing other stuff that really is not enjoyable. This frees up a lot of time. Wow, he's no longer teaching in that sort of one-on-one setting. And he said, it's such a great group of guys buying the program. This is gonna be more fun than I knew. That's amazing, right? So yes, there's the financial reward of almost making 10K in 30 days, but this is so much better. And so I wanted to harp on the fact that we are not building something right off the bat. We got to get paid to test first and foremost so you can have some cash flow. You have the proof that this can be a viable business. And then the next step from there is we need to package. So everything that you've tested in this live setting, you are now going to take that and take all the feedback that you've gotten from teaching this in a live setting and teaching your curriculum for the first time, which I guarantee you there will be feedback and there will be changes that you need to make. You're gonna make those changes and then you're gonna pre-record it, and then it becomes this pre-packaged program. And then from there, the next step is really exciting. We're gonna automate it. That is our next step. So once you have this proven program, then you can set up automated systems to generate an income while you're not working, freeing up even more time, creating even more space to really enjoy what you do. And this is what it looks like. So you have a platform like YouTube, which generates leads all day. Why? Because people are searching for solutions to their problems all day long. You just need to show up with those solutions with content that attracts them, as I mentioned earlier. So we have magnetic messaging on YouTube, which attracts those leads because people are searching and seeking it out every day. So it's free potential leads all day long. From YouTube, you have a lead magnet. So that's something that people enter their email address and ultimately get something from you. It's free value. So that builds out your email list. which is the most important part of an online business. Then you nurture them through a series of emails. Then you have a free consultation call with them. And then you see if they're a great fit. So you can set this system in place, and you're gonna be generating leads on autopilot all day long, even when you're not actively working. So with maybe 10 consultation calls a month, you could make $10,000 if you're charging $1,000 for the program, which now that we have a transformative program, the price point of $1,000 makes so much sense. So at the end of the day, we need to figure out what is the offer, who is the ideal client avatar, which we now have, and this is answered through that decoder. From there, messaging needs to be super clear and appeal to this ideal client. From there, you generate leads. From there, you generate sales. And this just starts to work faster and faster and more effectively the more that we fine-tune this offer and create messaging that really resonates and lands. If you're creating broad messaging, no one's gonna find you, no one's gonna care. If you create messaging that appeals to that zero state, like we talked about, and like the decoder provides for you, you're gonna reach the right people, which will ultimately turn into incredible customers and clients who you can have a massive impact on and really build your whole business around. So to quickly recap the steps that we went over today to turn your hobby into a business. Number one, find a focus. Number two, figure out who you can help the most. Decide what you are selling and make it transformative. People are not gonna pay for information. They certainly aren't gonna invest their time, money, energy into something that is just an information-based thing. That's why transformative is so important. Find your clients, talk to them, listen to them, do research, and then go right back to them and get paid to test your offer with that first group of clients. Get those testimonials, prove that it works, then you package it, and then you automate it. If you want to fast track the process of identifying who your ideal client is and what you want to sell so you can turn your hobby into 10K a month or more as a business, comment decoder or click the link in the description and you'll get the link to use our free tool. I'm so excited to share it with you. And if you want to see this in action of an actual business coming to life using this strategy, check out this video on how Christopher turned his passion for painting into a thriving business. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.